Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue with a new Pathetically Unfiltered. If you are new here, welcome to this channel. You know what to do. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you will get notified when I upload a new video. And if you are not new, welcome back. Let's not waste any time at all. You know, the Serve Box fundraiser is still ongoing. Get your $25 box pre-order in, and let's talk about your favorite girl, Erika Kirk. I tried to find something. I have a pin actually holding this, so it may stick out a little bit, but I just had to honor your girl, Erika Kirk, with this beautiful, eloquent speech that she put together. And I do have some Candace Owens reactions because, you know, we got to put the mix in there with Candace and Erika and the friction that's been going on between them since the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, Erika Kirk wasted no time with the semantics and the drama and the I just want to go home. I don't even know why she was there. She mentioned she was there because she wanted to put a name to the face of, I guess, the people who didn't speak highly of her. But let's not get it twisted here. There is a reason why she is not spoken highly of after your husband has been assassinated. I cannot see followers of Charlie Kirk saying, yeah, this is good. Pyrotechnics is good. Everything that she's doing, the whole thing with the casket and the crying, this is all good. If you are saying that to yourself, there's something wrong with you. But I know why Erika Kirk is such a sensitive topic for the male population. I mean, when you're playing with that pinky, there's a reason why. Yes, she is a beautiful girl. I do not dispute that. But everything that she has been doing since the assassination of her husband, it ain't cool. I don't know who is okay with this in support of Turning Point USA, or any USA for that matter. So let's play a little bit of her speech. I have a timestamp here that I put on my card. My card is not full, but I will tell you that once she starts talking, I may make some notes because I've only watched this video one time and not in its entirety. But she does make a comment about Cole Allen, and we're going to get into that once we get into that part. So let's get started.
It seems to me that nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognizable. These people have perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband. They have continuously tried to assassinate the president, and anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist, and every other trigger word that is grossly dishonest.
And really, why is that, Erika? Like, why would anybody talk like that? I mean, let's just put everything into perspective, okay? When you have a white person making disparaging comments about people of color, when you have the president of the United States in his sundowning tweeting out on his lie social, or shit social it should be called, President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as monkeys, what the fuck do you think that means? Is that not being racist? It's not woke ideology, because what's wrong with people today is in their woke ideology, they think it has to do with transgender. No, it has to do with being aware of what is going on around you. And why would white people not want that? Because they want to continue exerting their so-called power onto people. Let's get honest. They're afraid of losing that power. And every day, little by little, they are.
We want the best for our country. They don't. This is why Charlie started Turning Point USA in the first place. He didn't trust the radicalized liberal teachers. And this past Saturday, it was a school teacher, of all people, a school teacher, that attempted to change our history for the worst with bullets. And everyone is asking why I even went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it was because many of the journalists in that room have attempted to dehumanize me. And I wanted to meet some of them face to face, quite frankly.
Someone help me understand how we went to school teachers to, that's why I needed to go there, because I needed to meet people who talked about me. We jumped from one subject that's realistic about teachers to let's talk about me. That's why I had to go there.
Why have a conversation about me when you can have a conversation with me? So, for example, a journalist from the Daily Mail came up to me. She introduced herself. And she was very gracious. She was saying, "You look so beautiful. I'm so sorry for your loss." To which I replied, "It is so nice to put a name to the face, especially with all of the slander, the lies, accusations that are out there surrounding my husband's murder and myself." And I said to her, "You know what's so interesting? This is my first time at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I find it so fascinating, the dynamic that is going on right now, because everyone is all dressed up and you guys are co-mingling in and out of each other's cocktail parties. And so for one night, you are able to put aside all of your differences for the sake of freedom of speech. And then by Monday morning, things will go back to being an absolute bloodbath between all of you." To which she replied, literally, she said, "I know. Isn't it special, right? Isn't tonight so special?" And following that conversation, it was time to take our seats, and we went into the big ballroom where the dinner was. And one of the first things I noticed when I walked into that room was quite literally the proximity of the opposing outlets to one another. So you have one table here that's Politico, and another table here that's Fox, and another table here that's WAPO, and you're all crammed together, elbow to elbow. And to make the night even more of a spectacle, every single 10-person table had 10 bottles of wine. And the president of the White House Correspondents Association, she did a great job of trying to make the evening have that feeling of Americana. You know, we were in a room celebrating freedom of speech despite our differences. And the U.S. Marine Band performed the national anthem so beautifully. And then shortly thereafter, gunshots rang out and total chaos ensued. And you guys have all seen what happened next because there are 1,000 videos of it. So let's discuss that fact for a second. If you were in that room, you had no way of knowing what the status of the shooter was, how many there were, or honestly, really anything. It was just utter chaos. And so during an active shooting, these journalists are using their phones to find moments to capture for clips. They were so concerned about getting a video in a room with an active shooter that they could have accidentally and quite literally filmed themselves being shot.
So I just want to say this. In that perspective, I do agree with her. I don't know anyone who is in the middle of a terrifying experience other than what we had seen at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and say, let me pull out my phone, and if I get shot at, it'll be caught on camera. You know, there's a thing called flight or fight risk. I think that's the correct term. When you are in a dangerous situation, your adrenaline goes up, and the first thing your body is telling you, run and hide. Get to safety. That way you are not in the middle of anything that can harm you. You had everybody recording. You had Kash Patel sitting there like, just looking around. You had one dude, he was eating in the middle of it. And when people are viewing this from their perspective, they are looking at it like, gee, everybody is really calm in all of this. Why was J.D. Vance removed first? Why wasn't the president of the United States taken into a hiding spot, into protection? When Ronald Reagan got shot, the first thing that happened was people jumped right on top of him. It wasn't about what if he gets hurt if we jump on top of him. It was we are avoiding him getting hurt, so we're going to jump on top of him and protect him. That was the job of the Secret Service. And if you are a person who's not willing to risk your life for a political figure, maybe that isn't the job for you. Let's look at the reality of it. Let's look at how everything was coordinated. It was awful. It was terrible. And to be quite honest with you, with everything that's happening in our political climate when it comes to free speech, when you have people telling the news and want to speak openly and forthcoming and truthfully about this. Not everybody wants to be Fox propaganda. And people on the right who are accepting payments to spew propaganda, they don't care. It's all about the almighty dollar for them. Let's just call it what it is. And if I was a bona fide journalist, that I went and completed my degree in journalism, and I was on television, I was doing the news, I don't think I would want to be there in this political climate. There is nothing that Donald Trump can say to celebrate free press, freedom of speech, accepting constructive criticism where it is due. This is the thing that really has pissed me off over time. When I was going to school, I was studying to be a dancer. I wanted to learn ballet and I wanted to learn jazz. And there was a thing called constructive criticism, which meant your teacher was teaching you so that you can get it right. Practice makes perfect. Not today. Everybody gets all in their feelings. They read a comment that's unrelated to them, it hurts their feelings. They see something on television that has nothing to do with them, it hurts their feelings. And people have gotten so in their way and so in their feelings. It's all about me. My feelings are hurt. Get the fuck over it. There are a lot of things that I don't like. I don't lose sleep over it. I'm not losing sleep over a comment that hurt my fucking feelings. No, I am not thinking in this capacity. And you know, it's funny. It made me think of a video. I was watching Secular Talk, Kyle from Secular Talk. He was talking about boomers and Gen X, and not in a good way. And I love Kyle. I support his channel. But don't come after Gen X. We are a different breed. We come from a place where we had telephones with fucking cords. We didn't take those telephones outside. We may have been able to take them out to the hallway if we didn't want people listening in on our conversation, cords long enough to drag into the room. Otherwise, we were not experiencing what we are experiencing now. So yes, do I believe that there are some Gen X who are like pro-Trump? Absolutely. Not this one. And plenty of Gen X that I know. So when people, oh, Gen X, blah, 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 and things that they have to say, yeah, we're going to fucking say it. And if it hurts your feelings, oh, fucking well, get over it. Grow the fuck up. Grow a pair. This is the problem. And all of this constructive criticism, nobody wants to take it. I'm on lives. I hear people on the panel. There was a 19-year-old guy the other day. He was talking like he already knows everything. You're fucking 19 years old. You still don't know how to wipe your ass appropriately. And you're talking about how you know everything. Why you're pro-Trump. I guess all of you SPS love to stick together.
And again, ironically enough, the shooter was a teacher. You have these people who are supposed to be teaching our children the future of this country, and he's so unhinged that he is able to teach children by day and then attempt to murder the president of the United States by night.
So let me just stop this right here, because everything that Erika Kirk is spewing is misinformation. We don't know if there was an attempted assassination, regardless of his manifesto. Clearly, the man sounds fed up and upset, and everybody else is. That doesn't excuse you to go onto people with a firearm and hurt people because you're mad. But this is not the first time that we've seen something like this. Let's just call it what it is. We don't know the man's motives. We don't know if he was just planning on unaliving reporters because he didn't like what was going on. We don't know. And thankfully, we will never know. But for Erika Kirk to talk about teachers, oh, he's a teacher by day, but then he's trying to assassinate the president of the United States. Really? Well, what about the teachers who are molesting their students? What about the preachers who are molesting their congregation? What about the preachers who already have been caught for sex trafficking? What about that? We're just going to conveniently leave that out. And this is why Gen X is a different breed. I cannot remember going through shit like this. We were all about having fun, going outside, hanging out with our friends, having new relationships with people. And today, everybody is privy to having a phone in front of them. Bishop and I, we talked about this on our panel discussion. Everyone is a recording device. They're a walking recording device. You want to talk about people recording an event. You want to talk about people who are teachers, who are supposed to be the primary example of teaching their children. But you, Mrs. Kirk, is the same person who wants to go into schools and talk about, we have to protect the white people. And then you want to talk about, well, I don't know why they're calling us racist. Does that make any sense at all? You're bringing up protecting white people and standing up for being white with a black child in the crowd holding a card like, yay. Does that make any sense at all? What kind of society do we live in today where we think it's okay to speak on something we don't technically have experience in? I was not around for the Civil Rights Act, but my parents were alive. My grandmother was alive, and I don't even know if she would remember what voting was like. And this is the one thing, these blacks for Trump. Hello? You just had your voting rights taken away. What excuse? What in the Steven? I mean, let's just call it what it is. What in the fucking Steven? What are we doing here? How have we lost our way? Someone explain that to me. Because of influencers? Because you want to be seen? Because you created a fantasy world of yourself and think that the whole world recognizes it when you step out of your house and you walk down the street? There is no red carpet, or I used to call it the invisible red carpet. There's no red carpet waiting for you, invisible or visible. Social media continues to show and prove the downfall of humanity, because even when people are being recorded doing heinous things, fighting with people of color, calling them slurs, which is absolutely unacceptable, they don't care. They lose their job, they don't care. What are we doing here?
Comedians dressing up in whiteface, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on.
On the heels of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, she tweeted that she would be addressing her latest traumatization, and she did that today. She said, I need to spend time with my family. We should have pulled the tweet. She went literally in one sentence. She said, I after today's traumatizing shooting, I need to spend time with my family, and then I will be on the Charlie Kirk show on Wednesday. So I think she just needed 48 hours. And what we got today was objectively weird. It was weird for a couple of reasons. First is that it was 9 minutes, and then they just played Charlie Kirk clips for the remaining almost 2 hours. The second thing is that it was pre-recorded, okay? It was straight from the teleprompter, and it was very clearly not written by her. But we can kind of go over the points that she delivered. And yes, there's been immediate backlash. And yes, I am already being blamed for the immediate backlash because it's always somebody else's fault when it comes to Erika Kirk, okay? So the first thing that's weird is the reason that she gives for people asking that question, why did you go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner? You literally just said you couldn't do your UGA commitment because there were credible threats and you couldn't trust the Secret Service to absolve them. Then you did an event with Trump, which relied upon the Secret Service, and then now you're doing another event, and it's like a press event, right? That actually Charlie hated. He always made fun of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So why do you feel obliged to show up here? And here is the answer that she provided. Take a listen.
And everyone is asking why I even went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it was because many of the journalists in that room have attempted to dehumanize me. And I wanted to meet some of them face to face, quite frankly.
Okay, so we already played this part earlier when I was playing the Erika Kirk part. I'm going to fast forward now to the Jimmy Kimmel scandal. That's also another conflict that she's putting out there. You see, because Erika Kirk has a habit of making these comments and not really having facts behind that. She's just basically creating these fictitious circumstances.
I'm just pointing out irony. That's all. I know I'm going to get crushed for that. How dare you remember? I go kind of spending a lot of time on this case, and it's part of the bizarre reactions that the public doesn't feel good about. So I just think it's weird to call out journalists for the exact same actions that your team took. That still works for you. Taking down cameras, all that's a bit weird. But if they started taking down cameras, you might think it was a little weird. Anyway, another part, which there's this random push coming from the White House, and you're going to hear this from Erika and from the First Lady as well, where I'm just starting to feel like they're coming after the First Amendment, right? And bizarrely, they're going after Jimmy Kimmel, which I'm, again, angry that this is the second time that they're going to make me defend Jimmy Kimmel. They are trying to assert, and again, on the heels of Trump sharing that about me, on the heels of his advisors sharing this information about me, all right, going after my family, that it's actually Jimmy Kimmel's joke that is to blame for the White House correspondence incident, okay? And Erika Kirk is going to underscore that as well. Take a listen.
If you can just pause and just take a minute and ask yourself, how would you feel if even just one person made cruel jokes about the attempted murder of your loved one? That is what Jimmy Kimmel did to the First Lady. He said that she had the glow of an expected widow. The glow of an expected
Just
widow.
like so
Just
disingenuous.
48 hours before that nightmare almost became a reality.
It was a joke. I can't do the Hillary Clinton campaign. I can't do it. I can't do... That's how it felt. Trump would make a joke about something, and then they'd all get out and pretend it was super serious. And it's ironic because, like, Jimmy Kimmel was a part of that syndicate of people that did this. And I said no, and I couldn't stand Jimmy Kimmel. And I still really don't like Jimmy Kimmel, but they're flipping it now on its head, and they're Jimmy Kimmeling it. Okay, they're doing the thing where they pretend that a joke is existential. A clear and obvious joke is as existential, and now the source of shootings. This happened because Jimmy Kimmel made a joke. She may have liked the joke. I don't love everything that's said about me. Oh well.
So I did make a note on my card as I was listening to this, right? Erika Kirk has a tendency, and not just Erika Kirk, but people on the right, people I've heard on TikTok lives, they love to pass the buck. They love to place blame. They love to do the whataboutism. Well, what about Biden? I can't tell you how many times I've heard it. And in that voice. Well, what about Obama? We're still talking about Obama. Why? Why are we talking about President Obama? Why are we talking about President Biden? How does anyone come to conclusions that way? Because they like to pass the buck. People do not like to take responsibility for their own actions. Why would anybody take the blame? Let's just use this as an example. Somebody is driving and they're driving recklessly, and someone is crossing the street, not realizing that the person is driving recklessly. And now that person hits the person crossing the street, and they keep driving because they figured, well, they just got in the way. They shouldn't have been crossing the street. It's bullshit like that. How people come to the conclusion of passing the buck, passing the responsibility and not owning it. Remember how Lisa Rinna used to say on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, own it, own it, own it. Nobody wants to own their bullshit. No one wants to own their irresponsibility of voting in for this madness. And when you say you're good with it, I have to question your integrity, because we know who Jeffrey Epstein was. So if you fall into that class, I have no empathy for you later on down the line when your karma comes back and bites you in the ass, because it ain't gonna be a good look. Trust me when I tell you. At some point, a lot of people are going to get backed into a corner they won't be able to get out of, because they keep repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results. After a while, that's not going to work. So I will leave it at that. I was going to throw on my hat. It does not say freedom on it, but it has the yin-yang symbol. With all that being said, this is Maribel Blue signing off. As always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.